All right, welcome everybody to our October 16th Poetry Near and Afar. We welcome Lady Di from Maryland and our own Barbara Novack from here, right here in well, she does programs here at the Oceanside Library. This is an Oceanside Library program. We were delighted to participate in yesterday's The Word, a literary festival. Paula Kersey and Peter Dugan and Rita Monte, who really kind of took the point on it, just did an outstanding job. Far beyond, I think, anything that any of us were expecting. I'm hoping that it will be an annual event. The library certainly would be willing to participate in future endeavors. It certainly was a lot of fun. For those of you who weren't there, we did this on a village green. There was at time most of the times it was over 200 people at any one time on the green. A couple of different mics. There was music, there was poetry, there was art, there was a glass blowing exposition. There was a lot of stuff going on, and it was exactly the controlled three-ring circus I think that Paula had imagined, and she pulled it off perfectly. So kudos to her. There was yoga. I forgot that there was yoga. I don't want to forget that. So without any further ado, Barbara Novack.
Hi, everybody. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Tony. And again, I have to say, I was saying before we went on the air that the Word Festival was the most fantastic thing. It was an organizational masterpiece and amazing. And despite the rain on Saturday, we had a wonderful event on Sunday. So I'm going to read selections from each of my books, and time permitting, I'll read a few new poems that some of which are forthcoming publications. So from Something Like Life, I'm going to read Infinities. Some relationships start out with a lot of potential, and at some point you realize they're not going to get there. This one's called Infinities. Sitting on the Fire Island dunes at night, you and I looked out at where sky and ocean met, unable to discern the meeting of infinities. It was there, out there in the starlit blackness, at the end of the luminescent water, beyond reach. We had eaten dinner at a nice restaurant and had taken a walk afterwards along the sand down to the water. Life lights faded behind us and sounds were sand absorbed. There was just the darkness and us. We sat shoulder to shoulder on the sand, shoes in hand, and stared out at the unlit night. It was strange, we remarked, to see nature pure, without external light. It was sad, we knew, to sit shoulder to shoulder on the beach with no internal heat. We had discussed just that over dinner at the nice restaurant, and it waited our walk, sinking our feet in the sand, and it sat with us on the dune. And we stared into the night, realizing we would never know the meaning of infinities. And also from Something Like Life, the poem In the Heart. Sometimes there are lingering yearnings after a relationship ends. In the heart. We have become, in our baby boomer dotage, experts on pain. 20 years ago, we agreed to have no regrets, youth seduced by that impossible possibility. Now we meet again, you, the certified specialist in treatment, and I, the writer who has woven that decades-long thread into a tapestry of words. It is a reunion of sorts and kinds, and we come with significant others who do not think to twist their rings with uncertainty at the sight of you and me. And we hold up our drinks like shields, then lower our defenses and smile. And we talk about who we are supposed to be and what we are supposed to know until we lapse into the silence of who we really are and what we really know. You tell me all pain starts in the heart. Actually, you say the chest, but you are a science person and lack a certain verbal lyricism, being technical and literal. But the way you look at me when you say it is eloquent. You may be explaining how it radiates through muscles and nerves to the shoulders and neck and around the ears and to the cheek and chin and lips. But the way you look at me warms all those places with kisses. Perhaps it is textbook true that all pain starts in the chest. But as we sit, constrained by the lives we've made, I think we both know it starts in the heart. And the next poem I'm going to read is in Something Like Life, but it's also in Duhouse's Dream, which is a chapbook of poems about my parents. This one's called September, and it is about a perfect moment that I recognized in the moment was perfect, and that rarely happens. The pear tree in the neighbor's backyard drops its crop on the driveway with hard thumps, like baseballs hitting a mitt. But the pears roll uncaught. Once my father climbed to the top of the garage where the pear tree branches stretch over the peak and perched there, straddling it, plucking pears and tossing them down to me. I caught each neatly, brown, green balls of sweetness, small and firm, slapping into my cupped palms and deposited in a large paper bag at my feet. The pluck, the toss, the catch, the drop. We had a good rhythm that sunny September afternoon. And when the bag was finally full and the game ended, my father lit his pipe, set it at a jaunty angle, and sat secure and serene up high against the bluest sky. The pear tree in the neighbor's backyard drops its crop on the driveway with hard thumps. The pears roll uncaught. I stand at the kitchen window and stare out at the branches, so high against the emptiest sky. The next poem I'm going to read is from A Certain Slant of Light. This is a chapbook of poems that follow the arc of the season. They're all nature poems, and they all focus on the changing light of the seasons. The first poem in the book is The New Year, and I'm going to start with that. The ball drops. December 31st becomes January 1st. The new year emerges from its gift box, shaking itself free of tissue paper and giddy wrapping, stretches, yawning sleep from its morning eyes, and climbs up on the window ledge, ready to catch all the sunlight white and prism it to life. And that's the first poem in the book, The New Year. And now I'm going to read the last poem in the book, which is called I Watch the Sunset Shift. I watch the sunset shift with the seasons, winter southwest to summer west. Kitchen windows frame those season centers as orange, pink, purple color the clouds, streaking across the sky. I watch the sunset shift with the seasons of my life, summer to winter, spring and fall between, the almost ages best remembered as seedlings and ripenings, not the burgeoning forth or the hunkering down, not the blazing length of days or the chill short remainder, not the then, not the now, but the sweeter time between. And next, I'm going to read from Dancing on the Rim of Light. This one came out on the cusp of the pandemic. I got one reading in, and that was for Judy. And then the world shut down. The first poem I'm going to read from Dancing on the Rim of Light is The Wind-Up Watch. Remember when you had to wind up the watches? Okay, The Wind-Up Watch. The batteries have died. The gears have frozen. The workings got wet. The newer watches sit in the dresser drawer in a sad tangle of untold time. I retrieve from the back the old wind-up watch abandoned for the newer that need no attention, that run on their own, effortless, blithe beings that tell time carelessly, tossing off the seconds, minutes, hours, mindlessly, as if they did not matter, tossing them like confetti in the air. The wind-up watch takes effort to find the time each morning, point the hands, and whir the wheel to its limit. The wind-up watch has boundaries. Its time is finite. I thought I would resent its time taking mine, but instead I find it a meditation each morning on the limits, on the value of time. Okay. Also from Dancing on the Rim of Light his poem, All We Were. Now, the genesis of this poem, I had a necklace, the necklace I describe in the poem, and I was putting it on in the morning, getting ready for work, and the string broke. And all those beads were scattered on the tile of the bathroom floor. But like the writers we are, I looked at it, felt what one would feel, and then said, this could be a poem. And here's the poem. All We Were. Multicolored stones strung into a necklace, turquoise, tan, copper, white with wisps of red, large, small, oval, round, flat, and odd-edged, tumble in disarray, rattling across the tile floor, a broken thread creating chaos. Life is like that too. The odd-sized yet beautiful pieces in proximity, harmonious together. But harmony is tenuous. It is held together with a string breathing on a thin thread it takes no effort to break. Not even a thought, just carelessness. Scattered, it is nothing. It is like dust, like dying, pieces that were a dream of connection. Just a thread and pretty stones. That's all we were when we seemed like so much more. The next poem is called Outside the Abandoned House, and it's also from Dancing on the Rim of Light. And the title, Outside the Abandoned House, works for each stanza. So, outside the abandoned house is a dying tree. In spring, there was life, laughter in the house. Now all is cold and empty. Love is war. Life is not. Is an untended garden, gray and overgrown with weeds, all the flowers of springtime just a memory, life's melody half heard and love's misremembered. Is a swing set, rusted in the seasons since someone loved a child here. Then armies opened the garden gate and strode its grasses and left devastation in its wake. Okay, and next, I'm going to read some poems from Heart Like Leaves. Heart Like Leaves is a memoir in poetry of my journey caring for my brother, who had terminal cancer. And we were very close, and I was his caregiver. And the first poem I'm going to read is The Grand Tour. 3 hospitals locally, and we've seen them all, not in passing on the road on the way to fun, but from emergency room triage to curtain cell, and too often the rooms so similar place to place, their neutral colors and brown-gray floors blur. We've seen them all as his illness phases into the weakness it creates, bubbling into his lungs, heating his body, and fissuring his bones. The grand tour used to be an occasion for wonder, visiting the glories of unfamiliar places. We are visiting the unknown in 2 familiar places, and the wonder is, I take him home. Next is Vigil from this book. He will go when he's ready to go. He will know, decide. It is not up to me. I can't keep him here much as I might want to. My vigil is for me, to be with him, the breathing him, however hard those breaths might become. He won't know, not really. He may sense, but he might not even be here then. He may be drifting, testing out the clouds. The vigil is for me, for us to be we a while longer. And next, I'm going to read, this one I wrote after he passed. The world does not end. The world does not end or begin again. I am not made anew in this time. The universe continues. The motes of dust alter, but do not disappear. There is a rule of the universe, a conservation of energy. It is all there forever, just changing. The world does not end or begin anew. I am not made again, just made and remade of the same star stuff over and over again. Okay, I'm just looking at the time.
You have
Uh,
Barbara, you have plenty of time.
oh,
You
okay,
have
good.
plenty of time. You got another 7 minutes.
Fantastic, fantastic. My clock is weird. Okay, the next one is called Heart Like Leaves, and that's the title poem of the book. And actually, this photo looks photoshopped, but it's not. It was an actual photo of these heart-shaped leaves that appeared, and I'd never seen leaves like that again. And it actually that what I saw then pulled the poems I'd written together, prompted the title poem, and in effect made the book. Okay, it's called Heart Like Leaves. I stare out the window at the gray of autumn's end, my heart like leaves, broken from the stem, from the branch, from the trunk. Prey to wind now, to weather now, untethered now, my heart like leaves. But even in this bare branched world, something of our life survives. As heart like leaves, prey to wind, to weather, broken from the stem, fall at my doorstep. And I smile, for you are here, still and love real, in each season's cycle, in each turn of the wheel. And I actually included a picture of him in the book. Now I'm going to read some new poems. This one, What Do You Do with the Crazy, is just published in the new Nassau County Poet Laureate Review, number 10, 2023. And I bought one yesterday at the Word Festival. What do you do with the crazy? What do you do with the crazy when it wraps around you like smoke, curls its fingers between your layers, stroking and stoking the fire? What do you do with the tingles like too much caffeine in your toes, in your fingers that tap to the conga? What do you do with the subterranean current rippling insanity beneath placid surfaces? Calm is artifice, calm is performance, smiles sometimes rictus of keeping the crazy in. What do you do with the crazy that twists you and braids you and turns you upon yourself tighter than you knew even crazy could do? What do you do with the crazy when it wears you down to a nub? You take that nub and scribble, and maybe the crazy braids with soul, and maybe with them together, you scribble your way whole. And the next one is Some Words for Soon. Some Words for Soon, which will be published soon. I misread the title of the poem. It was about snow. I thought it was about soon. Some words for it. But are there some words for it? There are more for snow. Soon is close and almost and near now, but not yet. The parabola that never reaches the axis, the tension of that, the taut tightrope between the windows of when, where. Someone below probably hoping you fall just for the excitement of it. There is no edge to soon. It is merely an unreachable goal. And what are the words for that? Okay, this one is Like My Neighbor's Cat, Not. I sit at my kitchen window, a book in my lap, aiming to relax. That is my plan. Book in my lap, classical music on the radio, soothing backyard plantings beyond the window. And I see, under the lilac bush in summer shade, my neighbor's cat lays. Like my neighbor's cat under the lilac bush, I am trying to be still. Decompression, relaxation, increasingly difficult as to do overtakes done. Its weight presses, even as I sit with the book I am determined to enjoy. It should be easy, it is good. But I bounce out of my chair constantly, finding something to get, some text to answer, a note to make. I sit again and again at the kitchen window where the light is best, book in my lap, classical music still softening the air. I should relax like the cat. I should. Another to do that I don't. This next poem, I took the title from a quote by Samuel Beckett, and the quote is in the poem, begins the poem. And the quote is, "Then I went back into the house and wrote, 'It is midnight. The rain is beating on the windows. It was not midnight. It was not raining.'" And the title of the poem is Not Midnight, Not Raining. I am here, not there. Not there where you are, but here in my world, in my words. I am here, lost to you, found to me. My body in the chair is illusion. You hug me from behind and heart pounding, I jump, scaring us both, because I was not there, but somewhere else, where the weather is what my words create, where the time of day is what my characters experience, where I am now, in the rooms, the worlds, the beings I inhabit. And it is not midnight, it is not raining, unless they want it to be. And I think last poem, I don't know what time, because my clock is weird. This poem is called Thirst. Water drips down to quench the thirst of those who don't realize they're thirsty. What they're thirsty for, they don't know, but they hungrily sip the drips, lick their cracked lips with the spring-fed liquid they didn't know they needed. Then perhaps they look around, see the green, hear the chirps, notice the blue. Then perhaps they realize what the water was.
Oh, absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Please, everybody, you can unmute yourselves and give her a nice round of applause. That was awesome.
Fantastic.
Thank you so
really
much.
Great.
Thank you for
really,
the
really great.
Really good.
Ah, it was absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. We're going to bring on Lady Dyer now, but I also just want to remind you, if you do not want to be in the open mic, please, please, please put it into the chat. This way I won't call on you. Other than that, I assume that you want to be in the open mic. A couple of people have already bowed out. But again, if you do not want to be, please put it in. So let's remove the spotlight. And all right, she has appeared for us a number of times, and we always love having her all the way from Maryland. And this is what makes this this kind of program very special for us New Yorkers, is that we get to hear different voices from different places. And so without any further ado, I am delighted to welcome Lady Di.
You're very welcome.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Sure can. Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to take a piece of sunshine and paint it all over my sky. Be no rain, be no rain, be no rain. I think I'll call it morning from now on. Gil Scott Heron. My first poem, thank you. My first poem is a poem I wrote earlier this year for our Maryland State Poet Laureate, Grace Cavalieri, for a program that she does annually called Voice as Bridge. My poem is entitled Voice as Bridge. Our voices, our bridge, connecting our souls, sound off, speak clearly, shout above rushing waters, connect with similar interests and concerns. Let our voices be boldly heard. Let us worship and pray every day in ways our Creator has His say, asking Him to lead and guide our way. Let us train our minds to think before we speak, to be honest and strong with moral character, to be fair, truthful, and dependable, true to ourselves, true to our fellow humans. Improvise when necessary, knowing there is more than one way to accomplish goals. Taking a good look at whole picture, look closely at how we want to proceed, decorate our space and ourselves. Add colorful, fragrant flowers, sparkling jewels, adorn our bodies in fine, elegant cloth. Beautiful attractions. The beauty of it all comes from knowing unity brings strength. Coming together to combine ideas, listening with patience, an open mind, heart, and soul. Listen. Provide service for those in need and help those who are struggling to survive. Volunteer your resources and support. Oh, help save our children. Keep them close to us, for in the future, they will lead our way. Connect and adapt with quiet whispers of poetry and ear. As poets, we are neighbors. Come together for our children. Save our babies. Save our children. They are precious. They are dear. Perpetually keep them near. The year 2563. The year 2563. I'm an ancestor over 500 years. My distinctive studio is a shadowed space station. I no longer wear bright ruby red lipstick. Occasionally, a little lip gloss or Vaseline will do. My total assets are at bare minimum. It is better to give than receive. Seems horses and dogs are extinct. Over 27 ancestors quietly sit in my company. I am only one being interviewed. I talk endlessly. I have so much to say. Actually, I don't have a care in the world. Southern lovers. Love, oh love, perpetually tickles my exhilarated heart. Ecstatic to be reunited. Hour after hour, we sit in homemade wooden rocker under giant magnolia down by river's bank. Silver strands shine and glisten our hair. From dawn to dusk, delightful, darling days gone by. We reminisce. So many stories connected and counted into a passionate, pleasing platoon. Remembering our favorite dessert, yesterday I made a sweet love cake. 3 buttery homemade layers made from scratch. Each layer spread with Milky Way nugget, stacked and covered in fluffy, creamy milk chocolate icing. Generously sprinkled with our favorite nuts, fresh pecan, halved, ooze like old-fashioned hearty love and laughter. Shared between lovers, with each bite, each deliciously moist slice. He waited for her, daydreaming as far back as she could remember. One of her favorite things to do, staring out the window, viewing the tallest pine trees' snow-covered tops, watching squirrels hop from one frosty branch to another. Far off in distance, a little boy hops on his sleigh, zooms down the hill. As she peers over the windowsill, she sees a little girl dressed in snowsuit, matching hat and gloves, shiny red boots, reluctantly ease to her sleigh. Down the embankment she flies, screaming to top of her voice, eyes big and wide, open wide, happy, excited, thrilled. The boy was at bottom of hill, Yes, he waited for her. Some of us a couple of years ago went to a plantation. I'm sure a lot of you know Dr. Hiram LaRue. He invited a number of African Americans, about 3 of us answered the call, bravely, courageously, went to the plantation, my time first ever attending, going to a plantation, never thought I would. But as soon as I prayed my way there through tears and as soon as I touched the ground, I could feel the presence of my ancestors, and I could hear them welcoming me coming there. So we were scheduled to take a tour, and at the beginning of the tour, showing all the immaculateness and grandeur of the mansion, I decided that that was something that I really did not want to see. So I went back to the dining writing area and I started to write poems. And I wrote about 3 that day. But coming home, I wrote some more poems. To make a long story short, we formed a group, Voices of Woodlawn, and we've been presenting the poetry many places, even as far as Ireland. Due to the Zoom, we are Zooming even internationally with this program, Voices of Woodlawn. So if any of you are interested for your classes or your homes or your churches or anything, we are available. But I give you that because this is a poem that I wrote thinking of the little children. I'm always thinking of our children, our future. And I thought of the little children and this is what I thought that came to my mind. This is entitled, Mama, Oh Mama. Mama, is Master gonna sell you from us today? Mama, I surely pray not, because I don't know what me and Nettie, Cliffy, and Jimmy would do without you, Mama. Without the comfort of your touch, the sweetness of your voice, oh, Mama, we would be sad, sadder than sad, Mama, so sad if we didn't have you. Mama, will we ever be able to live our own life together? Just you, me, and my sisters and brother? How come, Mama? How come we can't run about, sing and play and be free? Oh, Mama, Mama, Mama. What would make a person feel like they're better than someone else? Make them feel they could treat them any old way. Huh, Mama? Talk rude to them, violate their personal space, disregard and disrespect. We humans too. What on earth did we do to deserve such ridiculous way of life? Oh, Mama, will things ever change? Mama, oh, Mama. Voices of Woodlawn. And we've written a lot of poetry since that time. We're trying to take our whole program to the Kennedy Center. I wrote this poem in the beginning of, kind of beginning of COVID. I had seen a film on some people that had COVID severely and survived. And one lady's name was Jade, and it caught my attention and stayed with me. Guess some of the things that they were saying about her reminded me of myself. So I wrote, Sweet Jaded Jewel. Sweet Jaded Jewel, my heart goes out to you. I feel for you, sweet Jade. Many mighty miseries you have felt, multifarious discomforts you have endured. I wonder, sweet Jade, what do you feel? What marvelous main tool brought you through? I'm so happy you were able to slowly get out and about, wear masks, gloves, wash your hands. Living alone myself, I know empty feeling of loneliness, especially when you are unable to get up and out. Sweet Jaded Jewel, hearing your story, I visioned myself on my own, living alone. My tool, my saving grace is power of prayer and poetry for one who has suffered COVID.
Mm.
Okay, let's see. I'll read something from my first poetry book. This is my first published book, published by New York Times bestseller now, Kwame Alexander. He published it for me. Forever in Your Eyes, dedicated to Dr. Maya Angelou. And she had an opportunity, I was blessed that she received a copy of my book and wrote me a letter, a little note saying how she enjoyed it and thanking me for my book, for dedicating it to her. And that little note is in my collection of work at the George Washington University Gilman Library, in my collection of work there. First poem I'm going to share from here is Mesmerized Baby to Ecstasy. I wrote this one night, let's see what year, because I put the dates in. This book has all the poems are dated. This poem was written at this time of year, 10/20/01. So more than 20 years ago. Coming home from a Smokey Robinson show, and I was just blessed to see Smokey this year, 2023, because I've seen him many times since the 60s. Smokey's another love poet, as they call me, love poet. Mesmerized, baby, to ecstasy. This love for you will forever be. Decades of love, darling, and pure fantasy. Fine like vintage wine and antique lace. Oh, so luscious to me. Ooh, baby, still feeling you, baby. Even when your presence I cannot see. Melodic, sensational, enchanting, a sheer delight, heightened by anticipated desires of your enduring might. Mesmerized, baby, to ecstasy. Mesmerized by your love for me. This love for you will forever be. Ooh, baby, sweet darling, you're an angel, my sugar honey cup of tea. Stay with me, baby. I'm here for you. Won't you be here for me? Mesmerized, baby, to ecstasy. This love for you will forever be. Said we'd always have each other's back. No, baby, now we can't do that. Hanging out across the track, and that's truly a fact. Oh, baby, sweet darling, gonna tighten up our thing, gonna let it simmer to sweet vibrations, don't you wanna hear twinkling bells ring? I'm mesmerized, baby, to ecstasy, mesmerized by your love for me. Perpetual love in my heart, sweet darling, will forever be. Can't you see? Don't have to shop around anymore. Yes, stay right here, baby. I have all the love you need, because I'm mesmerized, baby, to ecstasy. Mesmerized by your love for me. Dedicated to Smokey Robinson. How much time do I have, Tony?
Got another 4 minutes or so.
Okay. I wrote this to my primary care doctor. Misty eyes. Sentiments of serious care, comforts of my soul, mind, and heart. Eases my spirit, brings feelings of sincere love, agape love, love with sensational care, good feelings, knowing you are there, knowing you truly care, strengthens my soul being. I can walk better, I can see clearer, I can feel, I can carry on. I feel I can carry on. Silent tears roll down my face, tears of joy and happiness. You make my eyes misty. And actually, you might think that I said that, but he said that. So I took those words, you make my eyes misty, and wrote that poem to him. Poetry is my passion. My mommy, deceased now for 13 years, my number one fan. She said I would do a workshop at her senior building, and we got together twice a month. But anyway, the people would say, Diane's a chip. That's where Lady Di comes from. Diane's a chip off the old block. And mommy says, well, I just wrote this poem just before I came down. You know, I want to do my homework. So I just wrote it just before I came down. And so then they said, how you do it that quick? She said, put anything on the paper. And when Diane reads it, it'll sound like a poem. So I think I got a lot of that talent like that from mommy, actually. Both of my parents were poets and philosophers in their own right. And they kept us in the libraries and in private school. And we learned and loved a lot of the arts. Yeah, we're celebrating Arts and Humanities Month. And this weekend, I am doing 3 programs. I'm doing, the poetry ministry for Ebenezer Church. I'm one of the founding members of that, and we're having a program on Friday, and it's open to the public. Then on Saturday, I'm being honored as a breast cancer survivor, 3 years breast cancer survivor, and I'm being honored there. Thank you. And on Sunday, I'm reading for the Prince George's County Poet Laureate. We have a brand new Poet Laureate, and she invited me to read on her program celebrating Arts and Humanities Month. So I'm going to be presenting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Poetry is my passion. This is my last poem for the day, and it's the last poem that I've written. I wrote on this past Saturday at a workshop. Some of you may know Mike Maggio. He was the facilitator of the workshop, and he had us write collage poetry, where you take some lines from a couple of books or magazines and just write those lines down, just randomly, write them down. And then you go back to those lines and you create something, a poem from those lines. My poem is called A New Journey. Amber stood on her balcony with sunlight in her hair over her arms hanging long and glistening in the sunshine. She thought to herself, thank you, dear God, for being with me throughout this cancer journey. It was a truly new adventure, this ailment, and looking over her shoulder, she saw one set of footprints in the sand. Amber was happy for the comfort of God. Friends asked what they could do for her, and she said, put me in your prayers. She thought of her loving father and mother, the cathedral of her childhood. She thought of her mother and how they loved a big bowl of ice cream together. In those days, she was minus a care, loving to play with her friends and dolls. Rest, relaxation, and poetry are her saving grace. Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All
Thank
right.
you so much.
All right, everybody can you kind of unmute yourselves and give a nice round of applause.
Yay!
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram, my buddy, for coming on. Thank you, Charlamagne. Thank you, JR. Turk. I don't know a whole lot of people. Thank you, Patrice Smith. I don't know who else might be here. I didn't when you start calling names, but thank you all. Thank all of you, and thank you, Tony.
Oh, really wonderful. Let me tell you, I'm still hungry from that one poem. But,
I always have to put one of those. I'm also a chef and a baker, and I bake for folks during this time of year.
Oh my God.
So if you friend me on Facebook, you can see some of the cakes and cookies.
oh,
And
boy.
I also can mail them. We know how to mail them in the mail, and you get it the next day.
That's great.
Wow.
I also thought that whole plantation project is very fascinating. I'll be in touch with you on that.
Okay, good. They'll be delighted to. That's Sister Joy, Bernardo.
Oh, sure.
No, I'm sorry. Bernardo's not in that one. Bernardo's
okay.
in Collective Voices with me. Sister Joy, Patrick
Right.
Washington, myself, Hiram LaRue, and Clifford. Just senior moment. His last name.
All right, we'll get them. All right, listen, thank you so much. Again, just as a real quick, if you do not want to be in the open mic, please throw it into the chat. Otherwise, I assume that you do. And all right, we're going to start off with I will call on somebody, and I will tell the next person who's on deck so that they can get ready. So Ann F, you're up, and Marvin, you're on deck.
Okay. Is that alphabetical?
I go a little random.
Okay, thank you. This is the first time I've ever done this, so
Well, welcome.
thank you. So I have 3 short poems.
No. It's one poem. One poem.
Oh, just one. Okay.
Just everybody gets one poem.
Okay, I'll just read this one.
Okay.
Well, it's called Michael and Joseph. I never named you or even acknowledged you. When I cried for the loss of your life, they slapped my face, telling me I was young and had many years to replace you, that you were a mistake and less than perfect. Today, I acknowledge you, giving you each a name, announcing you to the world you never entered.
Okay. Thank you very much. Wow. All right. Marvin, you're up, and Carol, you're on deck.
The poem is called Togetherness. His son calls me a freaking wreck, a disgraceful eyesore, a thing. He tells the old man, I'll buy you a new one for God's sake. It's true that I'm not what I once was. I'm frayed at the armrests. Whitish gray stuff from ragged edges has erupted. Rorschach patterns appear at the top of me where he inclines his head. My seat has a long, jagged scar, sinuous like the Mississippi, with the stuffing a half-inch thick, protruding against the brown leather. There is a tape not quite matching my skin, covering of the wounds. I might be a mess, but I'm me, having enfolded him for 30 years. He has taken in the world, sitting or reclining while watching the TV. Not quite as old as I, but it's no youngster either. He is loyal to us. I don't like change. These newfangled things are not for me. I like the comfort of continuance, he replies to his son. I only want the best for you, Dad. I'm satisfied, son, with what I have. He rose from me and stood transfixed when planes crashed into towers, when assassins struck, tsunamis, Oklahoma City, Katrina, and then he plopped into me as if he had been through the unseen agony. But at times he leaned his head against my fraying me and closed his eyes and tasted victory with his yanks or Super Bowls with his Giants, and applauded humanitarian efforts and saw that good still lives somewhere in the world. I could hear his breathy, thank God, which even comforted me, who comforted him in my embrace. Perhaps we'll fall apart together. At the end, we might not have to go our separate ways. Has it ever been done? 2 in 1? There's always a first time.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Marvin, very much. Okay. Carol, you're up, and Robert Rubino, you're on deck.
Okay. Love. When did friendship turn to love? We enjoyed each other's company. We looked forward to every meeting. We did not have to pretend or be careful with our words. We had mutual respect for each other. We really listened when each other talked. He asked me to go study, and I refused several times until I said yes. He asked me to go to his cousin's wedding. I refused. I did not want his family to think our relationship was serious. He asked me to his college prom, and I had a great time. I said yes, the next family wedding. I was young. I was happy at my parents' home. I was surprised when he proposed, but it felt wonderful. I am glad that I said yes. 58 years since the proposal, 56 years since the wedding, and I know what love really is. Love at the beginning is exciting and new. A new way of sharing, learning to compromise, planning a wedding, finding an apartment, picking out furniture. Then he and I became us. 2 children, 4 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild later. Love is companionship. Love is trust. Love is being together. Love is giving the other space. Love is still sharing and compromise. Love is happiness and contentment. Love means he is my best friend and confidant. Love is wonderful in a more mature way.
Thank you. Well,
and I was in such good company. I loved everything that was read tonight. So thank you.
It really was. It was awesome, absolutely awesome. All right, Robert Rubino, you're up, and Christina Rao, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Now is the autumn of our contentment. Now is the autumn of our contentment, made richer, rarer, with each morning's coffee and conversation and companionship, so calmly, casually waving at wintry woes, either in sardonic salute or as if to say, away, away, not yet, not quite ready yet. Now is the autumn of our contentment, made cozier, rosier with each afternoon's nods to napping or mapping our hiking getaways, knowing, of course, there's no getting away from this seasons with a spectrum of aches and painful worry, but nothing worse, not yet. Now is the autumn of our contentment, made more delightful with each evening's shared meals, shared touch, shared trust, shared dreams of one more creative burst, just one more, and one more after that. Ready but never really willing to welcome winter. But if autumn's already here, can winter be far behind? Thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robert, very much. Okay. Christina Rao, you're up. Patrice and Christina, by the way, I have to do this since this is Oceanside Library plug. This is a program. This is our poet in residence, Christina Rao. And then Patrice Smith, you're on deck.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Tony. I'm going to plug one thing very quickly. Saturday is my book launch at the library. Come and see us. We're going to have a good time. This is a poem called Suddenly There's Letchworth. We turned onto the drive unsure if the booth needed to collect payment and drove through where the only road led and turned right and stopped. How many years a glacier cut through? Now a single bird of prey cycles edge to edge. A deep chasm and river look shallow from here. The water flows north while the elevation lowers. The canyon will fill, will almost inevitably breach the dam. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Yeah, we're looking forward to Saturday afternoon. We'll have snacks and stuff there. It should be a very nice event. And for those of you who are poets and authors in the area, the Oceanside Library will now allow you to use our location for to launch your book. We ask for a small per book donation to the Friends of the Oceanside Library, but we can now offer you this as a venue that you can actually come and sell your books, etc. So we're glad to have Christina launch that program for us. So Patrice, you're up, and Julian, you're on deck.
Okay, good evening, everyone. These are haiku revelations, 7 of my favorite ones.
That's great.
Karma never seems to lose a familiar place. It finds its way back. Do right to others. Soon it will return to you in some other way. Emotion won't stop until counteracted by an opposing force. Going forth one step, then stumbling backwards for 2, still puts you behind. A circle complete will ultimately reveal new paths to pursue. Watching and waiting without moments of patience foils a chance for peace. And finally, still waters run deep. Look below what can be seen. Mysteries lie there. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. I always like having some haikus, and that actually went perfect. Julian, you want to okay, so Julian is up, and Dee Dee Spungen, you're on deck, and Julian would like us to share the thing. I just would remind you that this is not to be an epic poem, but we're happy to have you here. And let's see, I'll allow you to hang on. Jordan. Whoops, Julian rather. Okay. Where do I have you? Where do I have you on the side here? Boop, 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 boop. There we are. Share screen, share screen. That didn't work. Try it over here. There you go. Okay, Julian, you've got it.
Hi, thanks. This is called a map to your heart. It's been a while since you used me, you relied on me whenever you got lost, needed directions, were scrambling or late. Now I sit in this cold cavern, this gloveless glove compartment, loveless as the half-used box of 3-ply mine. Your map of old that you abandoned for the mobile apps of new. I even missed the way you got so mad, trying to fold me back this way and that, and never got it right. I have all the creases to show for it. It was more trauma for you than a trauma for me. I never once complained. I knew where to draw the line. It didn't matter how you faulted me, only that I was useful. A 2D representation of your 3D world. One dimension less, but many more colorful facets, solid lines, curved contours, and straight up and up grids. My borders and boundaries clearly demarcated. I never talked back, never told you you have arrived when you hadn't, or castigated you to take U-turns you didn't want to, or said recalculating in such a condescending way. I never tracked your comings and goings. It was always just between you and me. I was discreet and private that way. What lies on the map stays on the map. The last time you pulled me out was when you lost internet connection and your battery was weak and you pulled over and found me, and I was so thrilled to be touched again, fondled by your warm hands like an old friend. You read me easily, just like remembering to ride a bicycle or tie a shoelace, and I got you to your destination on time. I was happy to be of service finally. You didn't fold me right though again, but I didn't mind. To think you were so good at origami once. Kids are natural folders. Adults can't seem to shape the unfolding of their lives very well. It's an animal they wrestle with every day of their crumpled, creased lives, never being able to tell the mountain from the valley folds. Forgetting that no matter where you go, wherever you end up, or even when you think you really have arrived, you will always still need a guide, a chart, something tangible, someone you can hold on to like a reliable map to point you in the right direction and show you the way. Thank you.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Julian. I also would remind if you're not on our email list and you would like to be on our email list, either for all library programs or just the poetry programs, just put that in the chat. Just tell me whether you want all. Give me your email address and then all or just the poetry, and that will limit the emails that you get. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Dee Dee, you're up, and Michael Ingram, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Just such a fine evening of poetry. Barbara, Lady Di, you set the scene and we all are trying our best to follow. And so far, it's amazing. Thank you. History offers nothing for pain, nothing but pain. Look back. The suffering of anyone's people, like hard chunks of something that won't go down, like shame in case you might have changed things, like nausea slowly rising and there's no hope. Never was. That's the killing point. No point at all. Just an unfolding, a shared guilt, a retelling, a retelling, a retelling. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Right.
Excellent. Okay. So, Michael, you're up, and Emily Sue, you're on deck.
Right. Thank you to my friend Lady Di. Congratulations. I host the poetry podcast, Quintessential Listening Poetry Online Radio. The title of my piece is It's a Crime to Feel So Blue. It's a crime to feel so blue. Although I like the hue of blue as a color of ink in a pen, a fountain pen to be exact, one that glides gracefully across the page with certainty and purpose. Yet today, there is no pen, just the color blue. And the blue stain alone doesn't glide so easily the jagged edges and crevasses that hide years of despair. It's a crime to feel so blue. Although I like the hue of blue as a color of a suit, double-breasted, if you will, sleek, secure, strong, but I'm not wearing a suit today just the color blue. And on me, blue alone doesn't look or feel as well. It hangs and it sags and it weighs me down like an elevator carrying a heavy, heavy load. It's a crime to feel so blue. Although I like the hue of blue in the summertime as a backdrop for the sky, then its resplendent color highlights the white puffs of cotton that speckle the horizon. It is wintertime, and the cerulean skies have gone, and what remains is just the color blue, now a melancholy shade that is nothing but remind me of the severity of my discontent. It's a crime to feel so blue. If you're my judge, either convict me or set me free. Thank you.
Oh, just wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. That phrase is going to stay with me for a while. All right. This is a great evening we're having. Emily, Sue, you're up, and Mark, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, poets. Barbara and Lady Di, those were both fabulous readings. I'm going to read a poem called A Nickel Apiece. It will be appearing in Evening Street Review sometime this fall. A nickel apiece. A beat-up Corolla idles, trunk agape, as a woman dressed in drudgery inspects a recycling bin at the end of a driveway, waiting for the town to collect and sort and do whatever it is they do with the plastic, metal, and glass containers in the name of protecting the environment, which they don't say includes the chain of profit, with its promises of freshness in our food, if not the landfills, the sea, the air, and in the name of easing our angst about so much trash, and the way it can whip up a storm so fierce it will topple trees and carve new ocean pathways through island barriers. The woman, intent on her sifting, plucks soda cans and beer bottles that she'll cash in for nickels, winnings she might or might not use to buy fuel for body and car. She feels eyes on her, looks up, a wave to the homeowner seals a pact of mutual gratitude and forgiveness. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Mark, you're up, and JR, you're on deck.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Nothing better. When you have nothing better to do, you read the nutrition labels on a bottle. Have you ever noticed that the one most important thing necessary for life on this planet, water, has no nutritional value? Zeros all the way down the line. And if by chance you see a real number somewhere on the label, most likely it's a flavor or ingredient that the typical health-conscious person will chide you that you shouldn't have anyway, so that water is bad for you. Now, I've had this thought before and commented about it as a joke, a conversation starter. However, that usually results in a snide comment and a rant about some other food item they wish I wouldn't eat or outright demand it with clenched teeth as well as fists. So eventually, I learned to keep the thought to myself, a joke not worth sharing. But now, with nothing else to do, sitting in this jury waiting room and plenty of blank pages to fill, there's a water bottle sitting in the chair's cup holder with not a sip yet taken. Because although I've managed to slit open the seal ring from the cap courtesy of a fingernail, that cap won't budge. If I were home, I'd be fetching a pair of pliers for the additional torque and grip, but like I said, I am not at home. I also fear there is no nutritional value in this poem.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
All right, there. I just look for flashes of purple, and here we go. J.R. Turk. And Margaret, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony, as always. Thank you, Lady Di. Always a delicious addition, I know. And thank you, Barbara, especially your brother's poems. An inspiration. My brother's 4th anniversary actually is this week. Oh, wow. And so I'm going to read a poem from the hopefully forthcoming collection, 24 Shades of Purple. You'll know. February, not July. My birthday came and went, and I thought of you. Yours came and went, of course. I thought of you. Think of you every day, missing you, though the missing feels like less. And that feels wrong, but I think you know what I mean, especially after almost 4 years. But let's go back 40 years. I'm guessing, but it feels right. Your birthstone, February, amethyst. Mine, July, ruby. I say to you, Mikey, you will never need your birthstone. Never buy a necklace or earrings because it represents you and your connection to the month you were born. I remember how you rolled your eyes into your head, exhaled a big brother sigh, wishing this were over. But you knew how detailed I can be, definitive, precise, if not concise. And I don't really like red. Don't connect to it other than Christmas and St. Valentine's Day, though purple hearts are better than red. So I summarized it. Finally, your eyes said, stopping their search for respite. Since you will never need your birthstone, I'm taking it. You can have mine if you want, but I'm taking amethyst. You can keep February and snow and all that cold, blustery frost. I'll keep July, perfect for me, summer, everything, and now with purple, amethyst. I'm taking it, okay? I'll never forget your laughing assent, so glad that it was over, an agreement made that meant nothing to you, but even after all these years means so much to me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. I can't believe how, wow, that it just seems like yesterday. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Margaret, you're up, and Larry McCoy, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Lady Di and Barbara, for your great poems. I had to smile yesterday when I was leaving the Word Fest. I saw Barbara's car and it inspired a poem a while ago, so I'm going to read that. I'm going to G-rate it a little bit. This is called Ode to My First Car, my 1982 Plymouth Reliant, inspired by Barbara Novack. Reliable you were, from senior year of high school through college years. We traveled miles, rolled through memories, boyfriends and crushes I've never forgotten. Grandpa lost his eyesight and driving privileges as I earned mine. You were an unexpected gift of luxury. As classmates parked their Porsches and Benzes next to us on Long Island South Shore, you brown like dirt, mud, brownies, things I find inside litter boxes. You were hard to tell, dirty or from clean, except for your beige interior. I had mean nicknames for you, called you the Poopy Mobile, but you were anything but poopy. Thanks, reliable, reliant, built like a tank. When we accidentally thumped things, you never crumbled, like my Hyundai Elantra and my Honda Fit had. From shopping carts, bad parkers, and snowplows, it took years before you aged, and time got the best of you. Dear old first car, like an old friend, I remember you.
Thank you very much. I think it was the poopy, the part that you PG'd for us. Okay, that's okay. We're all adults here. You would have been fine. Okay, so Larry McCoy, you're up, and Jack Zaffos, you're on deck.
Whatever happened to? Back in the days before journalism went out of style, I occasionally assigned a writer to do a feature we called Whatever Happened to. One day, the assignment was to find Johnny Paycheck, the country singer who had a big hit with Take This Job and Shove It. Whatever happened to Johnny Paycheck was he was in jail when we tracked him down. He was put there after shooting a guy. When he spoke to us from his temporary residence, he was pleasant and upbeat about continuing his career someday. I frequently wonder whatever happened to a young girl named Georgia. I met Georgia only one time. That was 37 years ago on a September day, the day our daughter Julie McCoy married Lynn Parrish at the chapel at Syracuse University. It was a small ceremony, and afterwards we all gathered outside the chapel for some picture taking. I noticed a young girl, somewhere between 8 and 10 years old, standing on the sidewalk, looking up at all those adults at the top of the steps. Never knowing how to behave, I motioned for the girl to come up and join us. She did. At least one, if not more, of the groom's sisters was not thrilled by this. But there Georgia is in group wedding pictures, surrounded by strangers. Whatever happened to Georgia? She would be in her mid-40s now. Is she married? If so, when wedding pictures were taken, did she think for a second about that day back in Syracuse? Has she had a career doing something she loved? I sure hope she did, rather than ending up working someplace where every damn day she wanted to shout, "Take this job and shove it."
Wonderful. Thank you, Larry. Thank you as always. All right. Jack, you're up, and Maggie, you're on deck.
Okay. This is called Community. In the end, it falls on you to speak from the heart. Day-to-day vision and faith are questioned by those feelings of isolation that can cloud us out like a fog in the valley. We have nowhere to go, and sightings of true north are shrouded by a white mist as we are deafened by the white noise of the mind. Who will offer to call out from the shroud, to shine a light, to call out from their own soul? I am over here. I'm lost too. Does it ever feel like a mountain slope in a wind-driven fog? An isolation that no recited prayer by rote can penetrate? For a human voice can do only so much if not joined with a hand and a heart. On the hillside, there are glimmers of light that glow through the mist. The white sheet of fog may not lift anytime soon, yet the lights and the words are seen and heard as they come from the deep places of the hands, heart, and soul.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much. All right. Maggie, you're up. And before we start, there's somebody on an iPhone here. Do you want to read? Can you just unmute yourself and tell us whether you want to read?
Is that still me?
Nope. Nope. There's somebody else who's just listed as an iPhone.
I think that's Barbara.
Okay. All right. Then the answer is no. Good. All right. Maggie, you're up, and Linda Dickman, you're on deck.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, what an extraordinary evening of poetry. Barbara and Lady Di, you were just amazing. Just a quick plug for Poetry Street, a venue, a monthly venue I co-host with Chip Williford the last Saturday of every month. It's a hybrid. Many people alert the media, particularly our Judy Turek. And so be on the lookout. And
where's it held?
It's held at the Riverhead Library, and it's a hybrid, so you can come on Zoom or you can come in person.
Great, that's wonderful.
We will alert the media.
There you go.
This is a seasonal poem. It's called Another Season. Another season fades, leaving serpentine vines, spiced residues. Uneaten fruits crumble damply in shadows, unmattering back from an island of summer. And now molders underfoot. In black subterranean caves, roots and sealed seeds flow toward fall. Time's measure flares, boisterous, chafes, like us, longing to stay.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And always great to hear of another venue for an outlet for everybody. Linda, you're up, and Lloyd, you're on deck. And if I've missed you, or if you changed your mind and want to read and had previously told me you didn't, just throw it into the chat. So, but for right now, let's see, where am I? Linda Dickman, looking for you in my There you are. I see you. There we go. Spotlight. Good.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for all this wonderful poetry this evening. My poem takes place in Hawaii on a beach where many large sea turtles stay. It's called Punalu'u for Henry Opakahaya. Crescent of aqua, sliver of lava, dotted with 2 score panu, bobbing above the waves, shiny onyx carapaces glistening. A holy light. Shoes must come off, souls touching this holy ground. It is where we became we so many years ago. Leaving the beach, I am conscious of the black sand lining my shoes. I will walk on holy ground forever. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This has just been a great evening. Lloyd, you're up next, and then let's see. And I think then that's just I'll finish up with something, but I don't think we have anybody else. So again, unless anybody, it's some of my favorite poets backed out tonight. But if you're here, please jump in. And without any further ado, Lloyd Abrams.
Hi, I guess I'm batting cleanup tonight. You know, we stand together far less broken. My wife says that men want to fix things and make everything okay. But when she pads into my office late into the morning while I'm ensconced in front of the computer, I know from her voice and her bearing and her look of exhaustion that it had been another one of those nights, with back and abdominal pain, of being awake for hours, of taking a second and maybe a third bath, of going downstairs for a cup of oat milk, of swallowing an analgesic or stomach medicine that might, this time, do something. I know by now that I can't fix her. I can't heal her with a miraculous laying on of hands, but I can help us by putting my arms around her, oh, please, not so tight, and embrace her and envelop her and sway with her. Yet inwardly still, I weep.
Thank you, Lloyd. That's really wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. All right. I don't usually do this, but I got a poem I'll share, and then okay, here we go. He was in the slow class. We got along great, hanging out that whole summer, riding our bikes, playing ball, going to the public pool. He was in the slow class, and I wasn't, and we both knew it. He was in the slow class, and one summer day he rode by my house. I was late because I couldn't get the old red lawnmower started, couldn't cut the lawn, a task precedent to a day of fun. He was in the slow class, so when he told me, pull out the choke, I dismissed it. I dismissed him, because he was in the slow class and I wasn't. He rode off to join the others for an afternoon of fun, and I kept pulling that lawnmower cord, both of us, me and the lawnmower, stubborn on a hot summer's day, unyielding, until I pulled the choke and the engine roared to life. He was in the slow class. He spent the afternoon in the cool pool playing with the others while I finally cut the lawn under a blazing sky alone. A life lesson learned. All right. I wish everybody please unmute yourselves, and let's give Barbara and Lady Di and all of the open mics here tonight a really good, nice round of applause. It really was a special night.
Thank you.
It's really a special night. Thank you all for coming out. And we look forward to you to seeing you here the next time. We'll be sending out emails. I got a few new people to add to our emails. Again, this Saturday we have the book opening for our poet in residence. And we continue to provide monthly readings here at the Oceanside Library, and Barbara runs a creative writing class here at the Oceanside Library. And we will be shortly announcing a poetry contest where the contestants will also be published in an ebook courtesy of the Friends of the Oceanside Library. So we're really excited about all the things that we do for the poetry and literary community, and we will be doing more when we get back into our real building. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you, Tony.
Yes. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.